Hello again, Chris Lee and Jay Greeson here to talk LSU's football schedule for 2025. Jay, the Tigers are loaded on offense and get some key guys back on defense and have a very challenging schedule, starting with a big one right off the bat. Can't wait to see LSU play this fall against this schedule. I think it is going to be fascinating.
It's probably the biggest, highest profile, most marquee game of week one. I'm not going to say it's the most important. I believe that's Auburn at Baylor. But when you're talking about two of the three Heisman favorites at quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier and Cade Klubnik, this is a game with a lot of star power, but that's those guys could play even, and it's not going to matter. The matchup in that game is a retooled LSU offensive line against maybe the best defensive line in the country, as Mel Kiper has Clemson with the number one edge rusher and the number one D tackle slated for next year's NFL draft.
Yeah, that's the number one game I'm looking forward to watching, probably with apologies to Ohio State and Texas in week one. But anyway, let's get right into it and see what the Tigers have this season. We mentioned Clemson. Look, this is just a loaded schedule, okay? Florida week 3. DJ Lagway has gotten hurt this week as we do this, so a lot of variables with that one. At Ole Miss week 5. South Carolina, my goodness. I mean, another team with great quarterback play. The Vanderbilt game in Nashville could be tricky. You saw that happen to Alabama last year. Close when those two teams played a year ago. A&M's going to be good. Alabama, I think, is a national title contender. I'm a little higher on them than most people. I mean, even Arkansas has got a really good offense, depending on where they are at that point in the season with Sam Pittman. That's interesting in terms of a team that can score some points. Western Kentucky, never easy, in terms of non-Power 4 teams. And then at Oklahoma, another team with a lot of hype. Like, I just don't see a lot of passes out on this schedule, Jay. And even where they are in week 2 and week 4, they're going to be in-state teams against a bunch of kids that would love nothing more than to play against LSU.
All right, bro. If my wife sends a message to the Southeastern 16 home office that I've taken a turn for the worse, I'm going to need your glass half full rose pumping to write my eulogy. I don't think this schedule is that hard because other than Alabama, and because, look, I don't think it's that hard primarily for this reason. Clemson's a get-out-of-jail-free card, not among the fan base because they're pretty ticked off Brian Kelly started 0-1 every year in Red Stick. But as long as you don't go there and get blown out, you're going to get a visor tip and respect for playing a true road game at a top 5 national title contender. The next 3 hardest games on their schedule behind Alabama are Florida, South Carolina, and A&M, and they're all going to be at night, and they're all going to be in Baton Rouge. They get Arkansas and Vandy, who are going to finish 2 and 3 in the bottom of the standings, in my opinion, and they dodge Georgia and Texas until potentially Atlanta.
Yeah, I see it a little differently. I think your bottom 2 teams in the league are going to be Kentucky and Mississippi State. Neither are on the schedule. At the same time, LSU also does not get Georgia. It does not get Texas. So those are, I think LSU is one of the top 4 teams in the league. It won't play 2 of the other 3. I get it. I think Florida, Texas A&M have an argument is your number 5 team potentially. Ole Miss loses a lot of guys, but man, Lane Kiffin can coach an offense.
He's got a dude at quarterback. I mean, he really does. Austin Simmons is going to open some people's eyes.
Yeah, I guess I'll restate it. I don't think it's the toughest schedule in the league in terms of conference play, but I do think throwing Clemson in there and maybe not getting some of what I consider to be the easier games in the league. Maybe it's more of a statement on the SEC than it is the schedule, but I just think this is a league where most of the teams can make it interesting on any team any given week, and I don't think LSU gets the 2 easiest opponents in the SEC.
And that's a credit to the schedule maker, because I did a podcast with Brian Edwards, I think yesterday. I don't know when it's going to drop on Southeastern 16, about the 4 most important people in a football program to get to Atlanta and compete for the college football playoff among SEC teams. Your head coach is 1. Your quarterback is 2. Your strength and conditioning coach is 3. And number 4 is the schedule maker in Birmingham, because they're with the imbalanced schedules, with no more divisions, the divide on hard schedules and soft schedules. Texas has got a cupcake walk. Oklahoma has got a nightmare. But LSU's may be arguably the most fair if you don't play 1 and 2, but you also don't play 15 and 16. The rest of it's kind of a wash.
Yeah. Before we move on, let's talk quickly about our sponsors, GameTime Sidekicks. Go to GameTimeSidekicks.com. Get 20% off your order with promo code SE16. Hey, LSU fans, you can get your official national championship tumblers for your baseball team. These are beautiful. These are just 2 of the ones that they have. I drink my morning Gatorade, caffeine, whatever out of these. They are great with ice retention. They keep your coffee hot if you're a hot beverage person. And rockform.com, my goodness, they make outstanding cell phone cases. Got mine in the mail yesterday. If you like high-end stuff to take care of your equipment, you need to take a look at their stuff. They've got a lot of things there. Jay, 2 excellent partners we're proud to have here at the channel.
Absolutely. The Cubs have been tremendous at our house, and I'm not telling tales outside of school, but we got our rock form stuff yesterday too, and the kids are doing the Sergeant Schultz from Hogan Heroes. Every time I ask them where it is, they go, I know nothing. And so I don't even know where that stuff is. I'm going to have to go back to Rockform and reorder.
Yeah. Yeah, their stuff is tremendous. But I'll tell you, here's my take on the schedule overall, okay? I like schedules, to me, that you've got a reason to tune in most weeks, okay? And I just feel like with LSU, at least 2/3 of these games are interesting for one reason or another. I mean, I think, again, week 2 and week 4 are your least interesting games, but at least there is like this in-state thing that, like, sometimes you see a team like that play with the team for a half. Even in the most non-interesting games, there's at least a storyline there. Again, Western Kentucky, I don't think they're going to beat LSU, but it's not the Eastern Michigans that a lot of teams play. And I think most of these SEC games, I mean, look, Vanderbilt is probably going to be the team that's picked lowest among all the teams on the schedule, other than maybe Arkansas. And Vanderbilt hung with LSU well into the 4th quarter last year. What was a touchdown game? That'll be in Nashville. I think that's one reason I really like this schedule, Jay. I just don't think there's a lot of pushovers on there. No, look, LSU may turn out to be good enough to steamroll some of these teams with that offense in that receiving core, and especially later in the year when that offensive line gets more used to playing with each other. But I just like the schedule. I think from hey, what I want to tune in and watch this game if I've got nothing else to do on a Saturday afternoon or a Saturday night, I think LSU's got a lot of those games.
I do too, but I also will echo what I said when we broke down LSU's season win total earlier this summer. At 8.5, I am bullish on the LSU Tigers going over 8.5 wins in this season. And I like them to be right there on the mix as not only as a college football playoff invitee, but potentially a 10-win season. Because I can – look, are those games going to be all blowouts? Of course not. Is this a schedule like Texas has where they're going to have six of their games are going to be 49-14 type of environments? Maybe not, but LSU's pretty highly regarded. They're a 3-point to a 4-point underdog at Clemson. Maybe they're an underdog at Bama. I don't expect them to be an underdog in any other game on that schedule.
No, and I think you're right about that. If you're just going straight up, are they going to be favored or underdog? The 2 toughest ones are obviously Clemson and Alabama, not just for strength of opponent, but also for they're on the road. But they do get a lot of those other games, that could be tricky. Florida, South Carolina at home. I mean, Texas A&M at home. I think Oklahoma in Norman. I'll be very interested to see that one when they get there. I think they'll be favored. But, yeah, I think that's a fair point too. All right, we will be here to cover the Bengal Tigers all season. We do it in football, baseball, basketball. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. That is free. Leave us a thumbs up and a nice comment if you don't mind, if you enjoyed the preview, and tell a friend. Anyway, we'll be here to cover LSU during the season every week, week in and week out. So another reason to subscribe. For Jay Greeson, I'm Chris Lee. You've been watching our SEC football content here at Southeastern 16.